Success is relentless. It's not gentle, it's not patient, and it doesn't operate on your comfort zone schedule. It moves like a freight train, fast, focused, and with zero interest in waiting for anyone to catch up. If you're not ready, too bad. If you're tired, it doesn't care. Success doesn't slow down to match your pace. It demands that you raise yours. There's a brutal truth most people don't want to hear. The world doesn't stop turning just because you're unsure, scared, or overwhelmed. Opportunity doesn't wait at your doorstep until you feel in the mood. It doesn't come knocking twice. It comes once and fast. And if you're not ready to open that door, it moves on to someone who is. Someone who didn't overthink, someone who didn't hesitate, someone who showed up even when they weren't fully prepared. You see, success is a moving target. It evolves, it accelerates. And if you think you can take your time, map it all out, wait for the stars to align, then you've already lost. Because while you're sitting there planning, perfecting, and procrastinating, someone else is out there executing. Someone else is learning through the fire. Someone else is building momentum because they understand something most people miss: action beats perfection every single time. You don't need to have it all figured out. You need to move. You need to push. You need to lean into the chaos and keep going even when you feel like everything is moving too fast, because it is. And that's the point. That's what makes it real. That's what separates the ones who dream from the ones who achieve. Success doesn't come with a warning label. It doesn't say, ready or not, here I come. It just comes. And if you're not positioned, if your mindset isn't locked in, if your habits aren't dialed, if your heart isn't committed, you'll miss it. And missing it doesn't mean you never get another shot. It means the next shot will be harder because the window will be smaller, the stakes will be higher, and the competition will be fiercer. The truth is, success punishes the passive. It doesn't reward the most talented, it rewards the most driven. It doesn't reward the person who had the best idea, it rewards the person who got up earlier, stayed up later, and worked through the discomfort while others were still waiting to feel ready. Relentlessness isn't a trait you're born with. It's a standard you commit to, a decision you make every single day to not let life run you over while you hesitate on the sidelines. Look around you. Every breakthrough, every great business, every world-class performer, you think they had time to waste. You think they waited until conditions were perfect. No, they ran toward the pressure. They matched the speed of success with their own intensity. They didn't tiptoe into opportunity, they charged into it. That's what it takes. If you want to stay relevant, stay in the game, stay ahead, you've got to train your nervous system to thrive under speed. You've got to learn to execute when it's uncomfortable. Because the truth is, life won't slow down to give you time to catch your breath. You've got to breathe on the move. You've got to recover while running. You've got to be the kind of person who rises under pressure, not someone who collapses under it. Success is relentless because life is relentless. There's always someone hungrier, someone grinding harder, someone who wants it just a little more than you do. And the question is, are you okay with that? Are you okay watching someone else take what could have been yours? Not because they were smarter, not because they were better, but because they simply refused to wait. We live in a world that doesn't slow down, and success is a reflection of that world. It rewards those who adapt fast, decide faster, and never stop moving. It favors the ones who don't need external motivation, who don't rely on feeling inspired, who treat every day like it matters, because it does. Time doesn't come back. Opportunity doesn't send a reminder. You get one chance to match the pace of your potential, and it's always now. Success doesn't ease into your life. It crashes in like a wave, and either you're ready to ride it, or you get swept under. And that's not a threat, that's reality. The beautiful thing, though, is that when you meet success with equal energy, when you bring that same level of relentlessness, it responds, not with ease, not with comfort, but with results. Results that most people will never see, because most people will never move fast enough to keep up. Waiting is a habit of the fearful. It's a disguise, a mask that fear wears so it can hide behind words like planning, timing, and strategy. But let's call it what it really is: hesitation born from fear. People don't wait because they're being smart. They wait because they're afraid. Afraid of failure, afraid of judgment, afraid of rejection, afraid that what they have isn't enough, that who they are isn't ready. But here's the truth: fear never leaves on its own. It doesn't vanish with time. And waiting only makes it grow louder. Most people don't realize this, but every time you hesitate, you reinforce a belief inside you that says, I can't handle it. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, or let me think it over, or it's just not the right moment, what you're really doing is feeding that fear. You're giving it more control. You're building a pattern, and that pattern becomes your identity. Before long, you're not just someone who waits. You become someone who never starts, someone who talks, dreams, plans, but never steps into the fire. Because that fire, that unknown, that risk, that's where the fear lies. But it's also where the growth lies, where the power lies, where the transformation begins. The mind is brilliant at tricking you. It will convince you that waiting is wisdom, that sitting still is maturity, that biding your time is the smart move. But what it won't tell you is that most of the time, that voice isn't your higher self. It's your fear wearing a suit and tie, pretending to be your logic. It's the part of you that doesn't want to feel exposed, that doesn't want to fail publicly, that doesn't want to be seen starting at the bottom. So instead of leaping, you linger. Instead of moving forward, you stall. And the longer you stay in that place, the more it starts to feel like home. Waiting becomes a comfort zone. You tell yourself you're preparing, that you're getting everything aligned. But deep down, you know the truth. You're hiding, and hiding becomes normal. You build routines around it. You start justifying your hesitation with quotes and books and endless courses. You think the more you know, the more ready you'll be. But readiness doesn't come from knowing. It comes from doing. You don't learn how to swim by reading about the water. You learn by jumping in and figuring it out stroke by stroke. The people who win in life aren't the ones who knew the most. They're the ones who were paralyzed by the fear of not being perfect. They were fueled by the desire to grow. They didn't let fear drive their decision making. They stepped into the unknown, felt the fear, and acted anyway. Because here's the key: fear loses its grip the moment you move. It thrives in hesitation. It gains strength when you stop. But the second you step forward, even if it's just 1 inch, you take back control. When you wait, you fall into the trap of believing that time is your ally. But it's not. Time is neutral. It doesn't care what you do with it. It either compounds your courage or compounds your fear, depending on what you feed it. Every day you wait is another day fear has to reinforce its hold. And fear gets louder the longer you give it the microphone. It starts to sound like reason. It starts to sound like truth. But it's not truth. It's just a story you've rehearsed so many times, you've forgotten it's fiction. Think about how many opportunities have slipped by, not because you weren't capable, not because you didn't deserve them, but because you hesitated. You told yourself, next time. But how many next times have come and gone? How many moments have passed that could have been turning points, but instead became regrets? That's the real cost of waiting. It's not just time lost. It's growth lost. It's experience lost. It's the muscle you never built because you never picked up the weight. Fear has one goal: to keep you where you are, safe, predictable, controlled. But safety is an illusion. The world is moving. Time is moving. Success is moving. And if you're standing still, you're not safe, you're sinking. You just don't feel it yet. By the time most people realize they've been stuck, they're buried in a life they never meant to live. A life built on hesitation, not hunger. On doubt, not decision. You've got to break that habit. You've got to challenge the voice that says, wait, and replace it with go. Because every time you move in the face of fear, you build strength. Every time you act without certainty, you build resilience. Every time you say yes before you feel ready, you build momentum. And momentum is everything. It doesn't come from clarity. It comes from courage. You don't wait for momentum, you create it. You manufacture it through action, through motion, through doing the thing even when your hands are shaking and your heart is racing. That's how you flip the script. That's how you reclaim your power. That's how you stop fear from running your life and start building a life that actually means something. Action over perfection. That's the mindset of the door, the builder, the one who wins not because they had it all figured out, but because they refused to stand still. Perfection is a myth. It's a shiny trap that keeps people frozen, waiting for everything to line up just right, for the stars to align, for the fear to subside. But the stars don't align for the hesitant. Life doesn't wait for you to feel flawless. It rewards the ones who take the damn step, even if they stumble on the way. Action is messy, imperfect, chaotic, and it's everything. The real danger isn't failure, it's paralysis. The fear of not doing it right the first time keeps more people stuck than any actual obstacle ever could. And here's the thing, trying to be perfect is really just fear dressed up as high standards. It's not about excellence, it's about control. It's about trying to avoid criticism, rejection, embarrassment. But excellence doesn't come from control. It comes from volume, from motion, from repetition. You get great by doing, not by thinking about doing. You want to build something powerful in your life, you better get comfortable with imperfection. You better get used to launching before you're ready, speaking before your voice feels steady, showing up before the conditions are ideal. Because perfection is not only unnecessary, it's impossible. And chasing it will kill your momentum before it even starts. The people you admire didn't get there by being perfect. They got there by acting when most people were still waiting. They made the call. They published the post. They opened the door, even when fear told them to sit down. We live in a world that celebrates finished products but forgets the process. You see the bestseller, not the rewrites. You see the athlete on the podium, not the missed shots and brutal failures. And because of that, you start to believe the lie that your first attempt should look polished, that your beginning should look like someone else's movie. That illusion keeps you stuck. It convinces you that your effort isn't good enough. That unless it's perfect, it's not worth doing. But the truth is, the only way to get to great is through good enough. There is power in starting messy. There is momentum in movement. You learn more from one act of doing than from 100 hours of planning. Execution teaches you what planning can. It shows you what works, what doesn't, where to pivot, where to double down. It gives you feedback, data, real-world experience. You cannot think your way into mastery. You have to act your way there over and over again. People who live in pursuit of perfection end up watching others pass them by. They have brilliant ideas that never see the light of day. They have plans and vision, but no results. Because vision without action is hallucination. It's fantasy. It's wasted potential. And what eats at people in the end isn't failure. It's knowing they never even took their shot. That's the real pain. The pain of wondering what could have been if they had just started, if they had just moved. You've got to understand something. Speed matters. Not because you have to rush, because momentum matters more than precision. You can course correct as you go. You can learn on the fly, but only if you're in motion. You can't steer a parked car. You killed confidence in your head. You earn belief through action. Every time you move forward, even if it's not perfect, you collect evidence that says, I can do this. And confident stack of wins is built on that wins, not on theory, not on thinking, but on doing. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress, forward motion, growth. You fall down, you get back up, you learn, you adjust, you get better. That's how you build real strength. That's how you become someone who's dangerous in the best way. Because you're not waiting. You're not overthinking. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're doing the work. You're stepping into the arena, flaws and all, knowing that the only way out is through. Don't buy into the illusion that success is clean. It's not. It's gritty. It's built on late nights, awkward first drafts, shaky beginnings. It's built on showing up when it's inconvenient, starting before it feels good, and pushing forward even when you're unsure. That's what separates the players from the spectators. The ones in the game from the ones in the stands. The ones who make things happen from the ones who talk about someday. Action creates clarity. Clarity never comes before action. You think doing nothing will make you more certain. But the truth is, motion gives you the answers. The path reveals itself as you walk it. And most people will never discover what's possible because they're too busy trying to figure it all out before they take the first step. They want guarantees, they want certainty, they want to avoid failure at all costs. But in trying to avoid failure, they end up avoiding success too. Your power is in your willingness to move. Not just once, not just when it feels good, but consistently, relentlessly, through the mess, through the mistakes, through the discomfort. Because every time you act, you grow. Every time you move forward, you build. Every time you choose progress over perfection, you take one more step toward the life you were meant to live. Time is not on your side. It never was. From the moment you opened your eyes on this planet, the clock started ticking, and it hasn't stopped since. It won't pause when you're overwhelmed. It won't wait while you sort things out. It doesn't slow down when you're tired or speed up when you're finally ready. Time is moving, and it doesn't care about your intentions, your excuses, or your plans. It's not your friend, it's not your coach, and it's certainly not your safety net. It's the one resource that never comes back, never refills, and never negotiates. People walk around like they've got forever, like they can afford to push their dream suite to next month, to someday. But someday doesn't exist on the calendar. It's a fantasy, a stall tactic created by fear and disguised as strategy. You think you've got time. You think you can just wait until things settle down, until you feel better, until you get the green light from life. Let me tell you, life isn't sending a green light. It's already flashing yellow, and if you don't start moving, you'll find yourself stuck in the same place years from now, wondering how you let it all slip by. There's a harsh truth most people never confront. You You don't know how much time you have. Not a single person on this planet does. You don't know if you've got 10 years, 10 months, or 10 days. And that should light a fire inside you, not make you afraid, but make you urgent. Make you intentional. Make you ruthless with your time and what you choose to do with it. Because wasting time is not just wasting minutes, it's wasting life. It's trading your potential for comfort, your calling for convenience, your greatness for distractions that don't matter and never will. You don't get to replay today. You don't get a refund on yesterday. And you can't fast forward through the parts you don't like. You're living this story now. Every second you breathe is a second closer to your finish line, whether you're running or standing still. Time doesn't care if you're ready. It just keeps ticking. So if you think you can wait, if you think you can delay your growth, your purpose, your impact, you're playing a dangerous game. Because while you wait, the world keeps turning. Opportunities are moving. Doors are opening and closing. And someone out there with half your talent, but twice your urgency is doing what you said you would do. Own day. You think you're being patient, but you're just postponing your power. You're not saving energy. You're letting it rot. You're letting life pass while you watch, while you scroll, while you overthink. You keep thinking you'll start when the timing is right, but the right time isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. It's built by people who decide to start before they feel ready, by people who realize that momentum beats perfection and that action beats planning every single time. Time doesn't respect your dreams. It respects your discipline. It respects your urgency. You've got a window, and you don't know how long it will stay open. That's not meant to scare you. That's meant to wake you up. Because if you really understood the value of time, you wouldn't waste another second doubting yourself. You wouldn't entertain distractions. You wouldn't let people steal your energy or let your fears paralyze your mission. You get clear. You get focused. You move. We're all on borrowed time, and most people are living like they've got an unlimited balance. But time isn't a bank account you can check. It's a ticking clock you can't rewind. You don't know how many chapters are left in your story. And if that doesn't fuel urgency in your veins, then what will? Because nothing is guaranteed. Not tomorrow, not your health, not your second chance. All you truly have is now. You've seen it before. People with so much potential who kept putting things off. They talked about their goals. They imagined a better life. They had ideas, talent, vision. But they waited, and they waited. Until suddenly, life forced them into regret. Forced them to watch as their window closed. That's the cost of thinking time is on your side. That's the price of hesitation. It's not failure. It's a life unlived. It's potential unclaimed. It's knowing you could have and you didn't. Time is not generous. It's not forgiving. It doesn't give you second chances just because you ask nicely. It rewards those who move with it, who use it, who value it. Every day is a shot you don't get back. Every hour you spend stuck in indecision is an hour lost forever. You think you've got time to figure it out, but you don't. You've only got the time you take. And if you're not taking it, someone else is. Someone else is getting better while you stall. Someone else is taking the leap while you wait for permission. Someone else is turning their minutes into progress while you let yours bleed away in hesitation. Urgency is a superpower. It's the secret weapon that separates those who dream from those who do, those who talk about change from those who actually create it. Urgency is the fuel that ignites action and pushes you past hesitation, doubt, and distraction. When you tap into urgency, you step into a mindset where waiting is not an option, where delay is a danger, and where every second counts. It's the force that turns ideas into results, goals into achievements, and potential into reality. Most people underestimate the power of urgency because they confuse it with panic or stress. But true urgency isn't about chaos or reckless rushing. It's about focused, intentional, relentless movement toward what matters most. It's a mindset that says, I have no time to waste, and I'm going to make every moment count. It's the difference between sitting on the sidelines and running the play, between watching life happen and making life happen. When you live with urgency, you stop procrastinating, you stop overthinking, you stop waiting for the perfect moment or the right conditions, because you realize those moments rarely show up on their own. They're created by the people who refuse to delay, who refuse to settle, who refuse to let fear or comfort dictate their pace. Urgency forces you to act before you feel ready, to push before the pain subsides, to leap before the safety net is visible. This superpower shifts your entire relationship with time. Instead of seeing time as an enemy or a resource to manage, you see it as an ally demanding respect. You understand that the clock is ticking and every tick is a call to action. Urgency sharpens your focus and prioritizes your energy. It cuts through the noise and distractions that drain most people, helping you zero in on what will move you forward fastest. It's the engine behind all high achievers, people who accomplish more in a day than others do in a week because they operate with a sense of now. Urgency also builds momentum. Action begets action. Once you start moving quickly towards your goals, you create a feedback loop of progress that motivates you to keep going. It turns hesitation into confidence and doubt into determination. You begin to see that you're capable of more than you imagined because you're not waiting for perfect conditions. You're creating them with every step you take. One of the most powerful effects of urgency is how it rewires your brain. When you act with urgency, you train yourself to make decisions faster, to trust your instincts more, and to take risks that others avoid. You develop resilience because you're learning to operate in discomfort and uncertainty. You become less afraid of failure because you know that delay doesn't protect you. It only holds you back. With urgency, you build a mindset that embraces challenges as opportunities to grow and evolve. Urgency is also a catalyst for creativity. When time feels limited, your mind sharpens, you become resourceful, you start to see solutions instead of problems. The pressure of urgency forces you out of complacency and into innovation. It wakes you up from the trance of routine and complacency that lulls most people into mediocrity. When you have a burning desire to act now, you tap into a deeper level of problem solving and resourcefulness that you wouldn't access otherwise. The absence of urgency is often the root of failure. Waiting, procrastinating, delaying, these are all forms of giving up, even if it doesn't feel that way in the moment. When you lack urgency, you allow distractions to take over. You let fear and doubt go unchecked. You give your competitors, your circumstances, and your own limiting beliefs the space to win. But without urgency, the opportunities slip through your fingers and your dreams remain just that, dreams. Urgency is a mindset that turns pressure into power. It transforms it flips the script from victim to victor. When you own your sense of urgency, you stop blaming circumstances or waiting for external validation. You claim responsibility for your outcomes. You understand that the speed at which you move directly influences the size of your results. The faster you act, the bigger you grow. The more momentum you build, the harder it is for anything to stop you. Living with urgency doesn't mean burning out. It means working smarter and with purpose. It means cutting through distractions and focusing your energy where it counts. It means setting clear priorities and saying no to anything that doesn't serve your highest goals. Urgency is the difference between living reactively and living proactively. It's what keeps you ahead of the curve, steps ahead of the competition, and aligned with your true potential. You can cultivate urgency in your life starting right now. It begins with a decision, a commitment to stop waiting and start acting, to take responsibility for your time and how you use it, to treat every day as a precious opportunity that demands your best effort. When you make that choice, you'll start to see doors open that once seemed closed. You'll feel a new energy, a new drive, a new hunger that pushes you forward when everything else wants to slow you down. Urgency is a superpower because it forces you to live fully, act boldly, and pursue relentlessly. It's the engine that turns dreams into realities, visions into legacies. And once you embrace it, you'll never settle for anything less than the extraordinary. The pain of regret is far worse than the fear of starting. This is a truth that haunts more lives than failure ever will. Because failure is temporary. Failure is a lesson. But regret is a shadow that lingers, a weight that never lifts, a constant reminder of what could have been if only you had chosen differently. Fear of starting keeps people locked in place, but it's the pain of regret that eventually breaks them free or crushes them completely. When you're frozen by fear, you're alive, but you're not living. When you're haunted by regret, you're alive, but you're barely existing. Fear is loud, it screams, it warns, it paralyzes. It's that voice in your head that tells you, what if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if people judge you? It's natural to be afraid of stepping into the unknown. But here's what most people don't realize. The fear you feel before you start is nothing compared to the pain you'll feel when you look back years later knowing you never tried. The fear whispers lies to keep you safe. Regret screams truths that shatter your peace. Every moment you hesitate because of fear, you're building the foundation for future regret. You're creating a story of what if that will follow you like a ghost. What if I had started earlier? What if I had taken that risk? What if I hadn't listened to doubt? Those questions don't fade with I go louder. They eat at your confidence, your happiness, your sense of self. They keep you stuck in the past, locked in a loop of self-blame and sorrow. Fear tells you to wait until the conditions are perfect, until you feel ready, until you have all the answers. But life doesn't work that way. Conditions are rarely perfect, and readiness is a moving target. The longer you wait, the more opportunities slip through your fingers. The longer you wait, the more you fall into the trap of imagining a future where everything aligns perfectly. But that future never arrives. It's a mirage that keeps you from stepping forward, keeps you small, keeps you safe but unfulfilled. Regret doesn't give you that luxury. It's not patient. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It hits you like a freight train when you least expect it, in a quiet moment, in a reflection, in the stillness of the night. It's the ache in your chest when you see others chasing their dreams while you're stuck watching from the sidelines. It's the bitterness that creeps in when you realize you've traded your potential for comfort, your passion for security, your dreams for excuses. But here's the paradox: the fear of starting feels massive because it's immediate. It's right there, pulsing in your chest, holding you back. Regret feels distant, something that might happen later in the future. But when that future comes, regret is far heavier than you ever imagined. It's a crushing burden because it's compounded by the knowledge that you had a choice and you didn't take it. It's the knowledge that you could have changed your life, but you didn't. And that knowledge is relentless. Starting is scary because it means stepping into uncertainty. It means risking failure, disappointment, and discomfort. But starting also means hope. It means possibility. It means growth. Every successful person you admire started before they felt ready. They stumbled, they made mistakes, they faced criticism, but they started. Because they understood that action is the antidote to fear, and the only way to avoid regret is to begin. When you start, you take back your power. You stop letting fear write your story. You stop living a life dictated by what-ifs, and start living a life driven by what's next. The first step may be the hardest, but it's also the most liberating. Because once you move, the fear begins to lose its grip. It starts to shrink in the face of your courage. And every step forward builds your confidence, your momentum, your belief in what's possible. Regret is permanent, but fear is temporary. Fear fades the moment you act. The fear you have right now, the fear that's holding you back, is a sign that you're on the edge of growth. It's a sign that you're about to change your life. If you can push through that fear, you'll discover strength you didn't know you had. You'll create opportunities you never imagined. And you'll silence the voice of regret before it has a chance to take hold. The pain of regret is far worse than the fear of starting because regret steals your future while fear only threatens your present. When you let fear stop you, you're not just missing out on opportunities. You're missing out on becoming the person you were meant to be. You're denying yourself the chance to create, to grow, to live fully. And that denial is a slow poison that eats away at your happiness, your fulfillment, your peace of mind. To live without regret, you must choose courage over comfort. You must choose action over hesitation. You must decide that the discomfort of starting is worth the price of a life fully lived. Because when you start, you're telling yourself, I matter. My dreams matter. My time matters. You're choosing to honor your potential rather than bury it beneath the weight of fear. Regret waits at the finish line for those who never began. It's a thief that steals joy, peace, and possibility. But fear can be defeated by action. Fear can be overcome by movement. And when you start, no matter how small the step, you reclaim your power and rewrite your story. Success rewards the bold. It always has, and it always will. This is one of the most fundamental laws of life, yet so many people overlook it. They think success is about luck, about talent, about waiting for the right circumstances. But the truth is that success favors those who step forward when others hesitate. It celebrates those who dare to dream big and then dare even more to act bigger. Boldness isn't just a trait, it's the currency that buys opportunity, influence, and progress. When you look at any story of achievement, whether it's a business built from scratch, a breakthrough invention, or a personal transformation, you'll find boldness at its core. The bold person is the one who raises their hand when no one else will. They're the ones who speak up in rooms full of doubt, who take risks that terrify the cautious, who embrace uncertainty like a friend rather than an enemy. Boldness is a refusal to be limited by fear, by convention, by the voices of naysayers. Boldness is often mistaken for recklessness that it's not. True boldness is calculated courage. It's the willingness to face the unknown with preparation and conviction. It's about understanding the stakes and choosing to move forward anyway. It's about knowing that the path won't be smooth, that failures will come, but still deciding that the prize is worth the risk. The bold don't wait for permission or perfect timing. They create their own momentum and make the impossible possible. The world doesn't hand out success to the timid. It doesn't favor those who play it safe or hide in the shadows. Those who achieve greatness are the ones who show up, stand tall, and take ownership of their destiny. They put themselves in positions where opportunities are made, not stumbled upon. They don't wait for success to knock on their door. They build the door, then kick it open. Boldness is the force that moves dreams from the realm of fantasy into the reality of achievement. There's a reason why bold decisions change everything. When you take bold action, you shift your entire trajectory. You break free from the constraints of comfort and complacency. You send a message to the universe that you're serious, that you're ready, that you're willing to fight for what you want. Boldness opens doors that timidity keeps closed. It attracts allies, resources, and momentum. It forces the world to respond to your energy and determination. It's important to understand that boldness is not reserved for a select few naturally brave people. Boldness is a skill you develop, a muscle you build with practice and persistence. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, every time you say yes to a challenge instead of no, you strengthen your boldness. It grows with every risk you take, with every rejection you face and overcome, with every moment you choose action over hesitation. Boldness demands you to lean into discomfort. It requires you to face fear head on and to move forward despite it. Fear will always try to hold you back, whispering all the reasons why you should wait, why you're not ready, why it's too risky. But the bold learn to recognize fear as a signal, not a stop sign. Fear becomes fuel, a reminder that you're growing, that you're stepping into new territory, that you're stretching beyond your limits. Instead of shrinking away, the bold lean in and say, I'm here, I'm ready. History is filled with examples of bold people who changed the world simply because they refused to play small. They took risks that seemed insane at the time. They faced failures that would have crushed most people, but their boldness kept them moving. Boldness allowed them to rewrite what was possible, to shatter old limitations, and to create new standards. Success, in its purest form, is a reward for that boldness, a recognition of courage in action. Boldness also creates a ripple effect. When you act boldly, you inspire others to do the same. You become a catalyst for change, not just in your own life, but in the lives of those around you. Boldness challenges the status quo and invites others to rise up and raise their own standards. It breaks the cycle of fear and limitation that holds so many people back. You become a leader by example, showing what's possible when you refuse to settle. The path to success is not a gentle stroll. It's a series of bold steps taken in the face of uncertainty. It requires you to make decisions that others avoid, to take responsibility when things get tough, and to keep pushing when the outcome is unclear. Every bold step builds momentum. Every act of courage expands your capacity. Every time you choose to stand tall, even when it's hard, you're investing in a future where success is inevitable. Remember, success rewards those who take action, not those who wait. It rewards those who speak up, who take risks, who break through barriers. Boldness creates opportunities where none existed. It turns dreams into plans and plans into reality. The question is not whether you can be bold enough to succeed, it's whether you're willing to be bold enough to try. Because the world belongs to the bold, and the time to claim your place is now. Every moment you hesitate, every second you delay, you risk losing the chance to live the life you were meant to live. Success doesn't wait for anyone. It rewards those who act with urgency, who push past fear, who embrace boldness, and who refuse to settle for anything less than their true potential. The pain of regret is a heavy burden, but the courage to start, to move forward, and to commit fully to your dreams is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Remember, time is fleeting, and the power to change your story lies in the choices you make right now. So stand up, take action, and claim the success that's waiting for you. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for choosing to step into your greatness today.